بسم الله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده. اللهم إني أعوذ بك أن أضل أو أظلم أو أنا ظالم. اللهم إني أعوذ بك أن أجهل أو أجهل أو أنا جاهل. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا أن نهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. We talked today on salat, ritual prayer, and it's the times of the salat. The prime time for Zuhur salat, the afternoon salat, is from the time the sun begins to decline from its meridian to the time when the shadow of everything reaches its full length. So right now, if I woke up and it was prayed Fajr and I went to sleep, and when I wake up, let's say it's 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I get up and I pray 2 rak'ah nafila, salat al-duha. After that time comes az-zawal, which is when the sun it is at its highest point, right? So when the sun reaches its highest point, right above the people's head, it is called waqt az-zawal. So once it declines from that state and it comes and the shadow is just a little bit, the shadow comes out a little bit, that is the first time for Dhuhr Salat. And the end of its time is when the shadow of that stick becomes the full length. Second Salat of the day, which really is Asr, if we are going in order, it's the Asr Salat. The prime time for Asr Salat, the late afternoon Salat, is from the time the shadow reaches its full length to the time the sun turns yellow. Once the sun turns yellow, the qadha of Salat al-Dhuhr and Asr become, once that time goes out, it becomes void. In other words, you are getting sin after the sun, the yellowness of the sun goes away. Which is, you can look at the sun and it won't hurt your eyes, you can still pray Asr. But don't delay it until the sun sets, because now it is, you are praying it and you're praying it with taking sin. The extended time for both Salat, Dhuhr and Asr, lasts up to sunset, like I mentioned. The prime time for the Maghrib, the early evening Salat, is calculated from the time it actually takes to perform it after its preconditions have been fulfilled. So Maghrib Salat comes in once the sun sets, and it lasts until the redness of the sky disappears. And once the redness of the sky disappears, Isha Salat came in. So once the redness of the sky disappears, and don't delay Maghrib until after the redness of the sun disappears, because once the redness of the sun disappears, it is the time of Asr is gone. In the Somalis, they say in their poetry that the sun has set. The sun has set and it's not going to return. For today, it's not going to return. Asr dafi, the one who Asr got, left him, I fear for him the punishment of Allah. The prime time for Isha, the night Salat, is from the disappearance of the twilight glow up to the end of the first third of the night. In other words, once the redness of the sky disappears, Isha has come in. And why do we pray Isha so late? It is because they pray it so late because they're waiting for the congregation to collect. But once the redness of the sky disappears and the sky becomes black, Isha time has come in. And it lasts up to the first third of the night, which is the time of Qiyam al-Layl. So don't delay it beyond that, and if you do and you have other things and you're occupied, it can last up until the rise of dawn. So you can pray it if you're sick, or you're busy, you're working, or maybe you had some guests, or it's just like you're too tired to pray. You can pray it up until the break of dawn, but don't delay it until like once the sun rises, and join it with the Fajr Salat. That's not nice, because then you are praying it with sin. The prime time for the morning, Subh Salat, Al-Fajr, and Fajr comes from Fajara, infijar, breaking of dawn. Salat, the breaking of dawn Salat is from the dawn, once the sun, once the lightness, the darkness of the sky disappears and light comes in. That is the first time of Fajr Salat, and is once you start also fasting. And if the light of dawn comes in, then you have until the adhan is given. Once the adhan is given, you stop eating until the first brightening. Salat is from the dawn until the first brightening of the sky, and it can last up until the sun rises. So don't delay until the sun rises. Try to pray it before the sun rises, and once you pray, sit and make zikr to Allah. And after you pray, the sun rises, and you wait 10 minutes, look at your watch, look at your phone. There's time to give you the time of sunrise. They call it ishraq. You pray 2 rak'ah, which they call salat al-duha, and after that you make dua and you go to sleep. And don't forget to sleep with wudu, because you will sleep in ibadah. أقول ما تسمعون والله تعالى أعلم.